that you could share with founders that to get them where they want to be?
Yeah, I love chatting with founders and going through some of the concerns they have. Fundraising is almost always top of mind. I mean, without the funds, you're concerned about basically you have going concerns. Is my startup even going to make it, right? So more times than not, the conversation is around fundraising, and more times than not, the conversation what the founders think they need almost always, and I'd love to get kind of the insight of others as well. What I have found is most founders think that if I put them and make the warm intro to them and the investor, that's all they need. They don't need anything else. I'm good to go. My product is awesome. Right. My pitch is great. I don't really need your help. Just get me in front of that individual and that founder, that investor. Mm-hmm. That's generally not the case, actually. Yeah. It's not that where I provide the most value. I can make an intro. That's easy. The connector part of it is I'm perfectly fine with that. But making the intro to the wrong person, or making the intro when you're not quite ready, or when your narrative doesn't quite fit and you haven't really fixed some of those problems, actually is a problem. So going back to storytelling, what I generally do with the conversation that I have with founders is to answer any questions they might have, and then see where I can provide the most value. We'll generally go over the pitch. Maybe I'll add a couple of insights about what I think will work better. We'll talk about best practices around how to run an effective process. So I typically say the best things to do when you're running a process is to think about two things. One is create FOMO. So you need to have as many conversations in a shorter period of time as possible and create this runaway train effect that my fundraise is moving along fairly rapidly. I'm about to finish my round and you better get on or get off because I don't need you. And the only way to do that is to have a lot of the right conversations. And then the other thing, if you push that FOMO, that's one piece of it. If you have the forcing factor at the end, milestones that are basically saying, hey, I'm a Techstars startup and we're about to have demo day. I have these milestones and I'm about to launch this. The press is about to come out for this. Like, these milestones are things that push back. And it comes to this like, okay, are you going to make a decision or not?
Right.
Because as an investor, we have every incentive actually to not write you a check.
Yeah.
Because the longer I look at a startup, the longer I know about the startup, the more I de-risk my own investment. So you have to force me actually to write a check.
Assuming you're also going to get the same terms though, because that can change.
Well, so that's where the forcing comes in, right? Hey, terms are going to go up. Things are happening. I'm going to sign this big merchant. Things are happening. Are you coming on board? So you've got to kind of push them along this process. And if you run an effective process, your chances of success are higher. It's not guaranteed, but it certainly helps.
Right. And that process probably changes. Like if you're talking to Sequoia versus Greylock versus Andreessen, they want to see different things, or is it generally the same?
I mean, I think FOMO affects everyone. But then again, Sequoia does. I mean, I spoke to one of the partners there, I won't say whom, but he basically told me at one point in time, he said, look, I do like 2 deals a year, right? Are you good enough to be one of the 2 deals?
Wow.
Right? So they, of course, will still get FOMO in some of these deals, but at the same time, there's Sequoia, everyone comes to them, right? So, and Andreessen and all these amazing firms that are out there, they have a lot of deal flow. They certainly have a lot more conversations they have. But at the end of the day, if you are a hot startup with a lot of great investors, they're all jumping on board, investors will want to be a part of that.